Hey everyone, welcome to Primary Market Chatter brought to you by Sunday Investing. Thank you so much for joining another episode. We'll probably get started and talk about three companies which are coming in next week. But before we do that, just want to highlight a few sanity things for everyone. A, we are not SEBI registered research analysts. This view is just for educational purposes. And what we try and do is we talk about the company's fundamentals from our perspective, but that in no way is a qualified lead. Please do your own due diligence before applying or not applying with respect to any company, and only then take a decision. Having said that, the second thing जो मैं highlight करना चाहूंगा is that I have pinned the pinned comments में आपको मेरा channel मिल जाएगा YouTube का. If you haven't followed the YouTube channel yet, please go ahead and follow it. वहाँ पे हम ये spaces भी डाल देते हैं with every IPO kind of stream tagged with that company. So आप अपने leisure पे भी वो IPO review सुन सकते हो 10 मिनट में just to understand what the company does and what we think about the company. Are we positive or not at your own leisure? With that, maybe let me set up the agenda for the day. This should be a rather quick space. I don't think it would extend to the last few spaces I've been extending. What we'll do is we'll talk about three companies, तीन कंपनियों की बात करेंगे. We will start with Neelam Linens and Garments. उसके बाद मंगल कॉम्पो सॉल्यूशंस की बात करेंगे जो दो एसएमई आ रही है. उसके बाद नीवा बुपा के साथ एंड करेंगे. नीवा बुपा का आईपीओ कल ही बंद हो रहा है. नीलम आई थिंक इज एंडिंग on, if I'm not wrong, day after tomorrow. So Neelam and then the Mangal Compusolutions is a very interesting company. उसका भी आईपीओ नेक्स्ट इसी वीक बंद हो रहा है. इट्स अ शॉर्टर वीक दिस टाइम. 4 दिन का वीक है. 14 तक 15 को गुरु नानक जयंती की वजह से छुट्टी है. But with that, let me very quickly go ahead and start with Neelam Garments. Neelam Garments की बात करते हैं. So बहुत ही छोटा सा एसएमई आईपीओ है. अराउंड 13 सीआर का एसएमई आईपीओ है. और जो कंपनी है वो फैशन गारमेंट्स है. हाई एंड होम फैशन वगैरह बनाती है. तो जैसे बेडशीट हो गए, पिल्लो कवर्स हो गए, वो सब बनाती है एट अ वेरी हाई लेवल. एंड देन यूएस वगैरह में भी भेजती है. सो एक्सपोर्टर है उसका. So maybe, Rohit, do you want to go ahead and talk about your read of Neelam Linens and Garments? What did you find about the company?
Sure, I'll be quick on this. I was not particularly impressed by this issue. So as you said, it's a 13 crore issue. So this business is into two lines. They do trading and manufacturing of homewares, which is mainly bed sheets in this case, but a few other sort of bedroom related sort of cloth items, as well as trading of licenses. I'll quickly get the second one out of the way. The government gives a certain number of import licenses for different categories of goods. This tends to be restricted, and so that the license itself gets bought and sold in the secondary market. And almost like half of their revenue, or 30-40% of their revenue, just comes from this. The rest of the revenue comes from this sort of manufacturing. And it's hard to call it manufacturing. They basically take, sort of surplus material, do some basic embroidery and stitching, and sort of sell this. One good thing is they do have decent clientele in this sort of homeware and this linen sort of space. They have clientele. International clientele are large, big box retailers like Big Lots, 99 cents, TJX. India also, they have, clients like Vijay Sales, Amazon, and so on. So the clientele is good, but at the end of the day, it's just a B2B sort of textile business, just in a very specific category. Today, about 60% of the business comes from this, another 40% comes from this license business, but that also has been moving up and down. It's been quite arbitrary. One thing is their revenue has not grown at all for the last 3 years. They've been around 100 crore for the last 3 years. They are operating their homeware business at a 97% utilization, so that is probably the reason. And they are raising these funds to expand. I try to look at to get some sense of what this capacity expansion could lead to by just looking at their gross block and how much machinery they want to add. And the funny thing is most of their gross block, I think 75-80% of their gross block is actually under the category motor car. I don't even know what that is. Is it like cars that they're using for personal this thing? Clearly this business does not need motor cars. So I found that a bit odd. And B, I don't know, therefore, exactly. I mean, they're raising about 5.5 crore for capacity expansion. Their gross block otherwise is only about, 1.5 crore for actual plant machinery. So I don't know if that means they're going to expand capacity by 3x, 4x, maybe. But yeah, that is not super clear to me. Their margins have been steady, like a typical B2B company, 2.5%, 3% margin, nothing exceptional, no growth. Maybe there will be growth once this capacity comes in. His business is coming at, on FY24 numbers, is coming at 19 P, which again looks really high to me. There's 1 quarter of data for FY25, which is not, I don't think there's too much you can read into that. The EBITDA has gone from 7% to 12% suddenly. This company also has almost 75 crore of debt. They're using this raise, the rest of this raise, some 4 crore of this to reduce some debt, which again it doesn't really move the needle. So I'm not able to find any real good reason to apply for this outside of the fact that it's a small issue, 13 crore issue, of which, 30% is with anchors. So it's about 9-10 crore will be there on listing. The last time we had an issue like this was Neapolitan Pizza, and which is actually a vegetable trading company, and somehow that after listing jumped 50%. So someone who's a super risk taker who understands the screen can think about it maybe on listing, just if they want to play the flipper game. But otherwise on fundamentals, I don't see why someone will, invest in this company.
Got it. So 13 CR का इशू है, उसमें भी एंकर है, so fixed price issue नहीं है, it's a book
No,
build issue.
it's not a fixed price. Yeah, that is surprising. And there are only two anchors, the Leading Light Fund and Saint Capital. Both are taken 50-50. Neither are like, like they're normal anchors who will often just be out on the 30th day and the 90th day. So nothing to really, nothing to write home about on the anchors.
Got it. And like you said, P on FY24 is essentially 19.
19p. See, this segment has, like, I didn't find an exact year doing B2B sales of this sort of bed sheets and stuff. And of course, half the business is also this licensed trading, which also will be a very, very light margin business only. But generally these kind of players get valued on, worst case, they'll get, one way to look at it is the sales multiple. Generally, these guys get 0.2, 0.3, 0.4x of sales, because the revenue can be very high. And this company is coming at 0.5x of sales. So it's not even like it's leaving anything on the table on that front. And such a business will not get 30p, 35p if you're expecting it to give any kind of listing pop. So whatever will happen here will happen if Muncie and Multiplier come and buy in bulk on listing day and sort of create like an artificial scarcity. There will be no movement on fundamentals.
Got it. That was a very concise review. Anything with respect to the LM? I'm seeing LM Expert Global. Yeah. So LM is also nothing
Yeah,
to write
nothing
home
great.
about.
Nothing well known. Yeah.
Also, the last issue was Innovate. That was a good issue.
Yeah, that was unusual for Expert Global.
Got it. Yeah, that was what was the review with respect to Neelam Linens. Yash, Tanmay, do you guys have anything to add, or we can move forward? Tanmay, are you?
I haven't read the company यार, so मैं कुछ comment नहीं कर पाऊंगा.
ठीक है, no worries. पढ़ने की जरूरत भी नहीं है आपको. I also think that it's a company which might do well only if people play the artificial scarcity game where like they just buy enough that there is scarcity and then it starts going up. But then the problem with those companies are if they go fast, a lot of them come down even faster. So it is very risky to play. I remember एक फाइन लिस्टिंग्स करके कंपनी थी, FLT, फाइन लिस्टिंग्स करके, कुछ तो कार ट्रेड का उनका बिजनेस था. वो शुरुआत के 3 दिन ऊपर गया था 5-5%, उसके बाद 8 दिन उसमें लोअर सर्किट लगा था. सो अगेन दीज आर वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू से, लाइक एटलीस्ट इन टर्म्स ऑफ लाइक रोहित वाज सेइंग फंडामेंटल्स, देयर इज नथिंग व्हिच you can see and determine basis which you feel that this company will do well. So maybe this is what our review was with respect to Neelam Linens. We will kind of go forward and talk about the second company now, which is Mangal Compusolutions. मंगल कॉम्प्यू सॉल्यूशंस की बात करते हैं उससे पहले आई एम जस्ट सीइंग इफ यश इज इन आई जस्ट एक्सेप्टेड हिज रिक्वेस्ट बट आई कांट सी हिम in the meanwhile let me just start with Mangal Compute Solutions ka review. So again very similar to Neelam Linens, nothing to write home about this company, although this company is very interesting in terms of a lot of things which I'll kind of talk about, but at a very high level this seems like a void. So if I have to explain this company, it's a 16 CR issue, so rather small issue only, but all fresh issue, and all of it is book fixed price. So it's not a book build issue where anchors will be there. Fixed price issue है 45 रुपए कंपनी ने कट ऑफ रखा है 45 rupees का. So everyone will get allotment at the same rate, and 16 CR will be available for on listing day per se. So and promoters were holding 100% in the company, and they are diluting 26.5% the minimum cap and coming down to 73.5%, which is probably one of the very few good things with respect to this company. अब अगर मैं कंपनी की बात करूं, so what the company does is it essentially rents out IT hardware systems, rental of IT equipments, and then does sale of IT equipments, and then also does maintenance, O&M operations and maintenance of these IT equipments per se. So these are the three segments under which this company operates in. So IT equipment includes things like servers, laptops, desktops, projectors, all of those things, and then they create configurations around that कि किसको कितने लैपटॉप चाहिए, 10 लैपटॉप चाहिए, and connectivity कैसे होगी. At a very high level, simplified level, this is how you can essentially assume what the company does. The company is based out of Maharashtra, and almost all 96% of their business is based out of Maharashtra, which since it's a smallish company, I would not consider that as a negative against the company. So just to go back, company is raising 16 CR at a valuation of 61 CR. 61 crore की valuation पे है company, और company sales करती है around 20 CR की in a year. So considering 20 CR sales, I don't think you can take 96% revenue concentration from a state as a negative, because if they were to grow, they'll kind of grow. But it's one business जो कि it's a local mom and pop shop वाला business ही है, where they rent out IT equipments and then also sell those IT equipments to clients per se. So if I talk about their revenue, core revenue from operations, so अगर आप revenue देखोगे, so in 22 they did 17 CR, in 23 they did 17 CR, and then in 24 they did 20 CR. So very similarly growing business. In fact, in FY25 first quarter they've done 4 CR. So अगर एनुअलाइज करोगे तो 16 ही होगा, which might be an issue, but I'm assuming that the quarter would be probably, since they are selling selling equipment, so there will be some cyclicity where people will not buy due to Shraddh and everything, or essentially the rains, etc. I don't know. So there can be some cyclicity behind it. So I'm assuming 20 CR is what they will end up with. Although their income, like 20 CR pe, they do like some other income. So their other income in FY22 was 1.2 CR, FY24 is 2 CR, but in FY23 they had a 17 CR other income, which is very interesting, which is something which I want to talk about. उसके बारे में बाद में आते हैं, but let's park that for now. वो 17 करोड़ की जो अदर इनकम उसको पार्क करते हैं, उसके अलावा कंपनी को समझते हैं, उसके बाद उस 17 करोड़ पे वापस आएंगे. So अब अगर जैसे मैं कंपनी का पैट की बात करूं, तो कंपनी पैट मार्जिन लगभग 18-19% पैट मार्जिन बनाती है बेसिकली. और इसमें अगर आप देखोगे तो कंपनी का जो रेवेन्यू है ना, उसमें मोटा आप समझो कि 50% रेवेन्यू जो है, 75% रेवेन्यू जो आता है वो सेल ऑफ प्रोडक्ट से आता है, जो सॉफ्टवेयर वगैरह बेचते हैं. 2.5% रेवेन्यू रेंटल से आता है, और सर्विस से 20% आता है. बट दैट्स नॉट कंपेरेबल, क्योंकि प्रॉफिट मार्जिन बहुत ज्यादा होगा रेंटल में तो एक बार तुमने दे दिया, उसके बाद कंपैरेटिवली तुम पे बचेगा ही वो पैसा. और सेल में क्योंकि इट्स अ गुड ट्रेडिंग बिजनेस, 2-2.5% का मार्जिन होगा कंपैरेटिवली. सर्विस फी में भी ज्यादा रेंटल होगा. और इनके जो प्रोडक्ट्स हैं, सर्वर वगैरह अराउंड 42% है, डेस्कटॉप 21%. But that's what the business is, essentially rental of IT equipments and then sale of IT equipment. Sale of IT equipments would form like around 15 CR of the 20 CR number, and then 5 CR would include rental, etc. उसके बाद कंपनी जो है वो अराउंड 16 CR रेस करने की कोशिश कर रही है, जिसमें से अराउंड 14.8 CR is going to be the going to go for फ्रेश इशू, और उसमें कंपनी जो है जीसीपी है 2 करोड़ का और लगभग 12.5 करोड़ का कैपेक्स कर रही है. सो बेसिकली कंपनी और इक्विपमेंट खरीदेगी ताकि उसको रेंट पे दे पाए और उससे रेंटल इनकम ला पाए. कंपनी के 26 एम्प्लॉई हैं, सो नथिंग ग्रेट ऑन दैट फ्रंट एज वेल, बट नथिंग बैड. अब जैसे मैं बता रहा था, कंपनी जो है वो टोटल अगर आप देखोगे रेवेन्यू 18-19% टाइप का पैट मार्जिन आता है उनका. सो कंपनी हैड लाइक पैट ऑफ समवेयर अराउंड, let me go back and see PAT. हाँ, सो पैट कंपनी का 3.8 सीआर है इन FY24 और FY25 में 80 lakhs है. सो 3.85 सीआर पे कंपनी जो है वो 61 के सीआर के वैल्यूएशन पे आ रही है. सो अराउंड 18-19 का पी, 16 और 17 का पी बनता है. FY25 को अगर आप एनुअलाइज करोगे तो 18-19 का पी बनता है. आई डोंट थिंक दिस बिजनेस शुड डिजर्व मोर देन दिस ऑनेस्टली, assuming this was a good enough, well-run business, which all that I have said right now, it just feels like a very good, very decent mom and pop shop which sells equipments and and rents equipments per se. So that is what the business is about per se. इसके बाद इसकी दो major negative points जिनके बारे में मैं बात करना चाहूंगा. So वापस से आता हूँ एक बार में FY23 पे. So जैसा मैंने बताया, FY23 में कंपनी ने 17 सीआर का अदर इनकम किया है. सो ये जो अदर इनकम है 17 सीआर का, ये बेसिकली इन्हें ना बीसीजी करके एक बहुत फेमस और इनफेमस कंपनी है, ब्राइटकॉम ग्रुप, उसके शेयर्स इनने प्रेफरेंशियल में लिए थे 4 करोड़ शेयर, और उनको सेल करके इनने 17 करोड़ रुपए का वो किया है, अदर इनकम कमाई है, विच इज अ ह्यूज बिग नेगेटिव. उनके इनके डीआरएचपी में भी लिखा हुआ है कि ये एक इनने लिटिगेशन चल रहा है बीसीजी ग्रुप पे. अगर वो पाया जाता है कि BCG group is essentially has done some fraud, then they can also be as a collateral get stuck in that per se. So that's a negative point with respect to the company. और एक और चीज जो मैं बताना चाहूंगा, जैसे कि आप देखोगे कि इस कंपनी में क्या हो रहा है कि फिर इसी साल में FY23 में ही इनने अपनी बुक से 10 करोड़ का इनका बैड डेब्ट था जो इनने उड़ा दिया है. पता नहीं क्यों उड़ाया, उसका कोई रीजनिंग नहीं दिए, बट दैट इज द ईयर इन विच उनने 17 करोड़ रुपए बीसीजी के थ्रू बनाए हैं सेल्स शेयर्स लेके. उनने प्रेफरेंशियल अलॉटमेंट में 4 करोड़ शेयर लिए थे बीसीजी के और फिर किसी प्राइस पे बेच दिए, और उसी साल में उनने 10 करोड़ रुपए का बेड डेप्थ हटा दिया. सब उसमें क्या कुछ तो मिली भगत थी, क्या था, नथिंग सेइंग नथिंग अराउंड दोज लाइक, बट इट डज रेज आईब्रोज इफ आई हैव टू से सो. उसके अलावा एक और चीज आप देखोगे कि इसमें ना लगभग 9.5 करोड़ रुपए ने कोई तो प्रॉपर्टी लेने के लिए एडवांस दे रखा है कंपनी को पिछले 2 साल से. FY22 से तो खड़ा है एटलीस्ट वो 9.5 करोड़, 9.5 सीआर is standing on the books from FY22 and nothing has been solved on this. So in future, can that also become bad debt? That's a huge question on the company per se, honestly. So again, that doesn't inspire confidence at all. And especially seeing that this company has been involved with a company which has been involved in has been proven guilty with respect to a SEBI dealing. I just feel that it's a once bitten twice shy story. Should stay away from it. If you still feel that one more negative would help, the other negative is the LM. Iska LM Java Capital hai. The company which they bought before this was Kalana Ispat, which opened 40% negative and then has been like 60% negative since the issue. I don't know the 60% number, but it's very negative per se. So those are the 2-3 points which just essentially completely make me avoid the issue. एक तो इनका BCG के ग्रुप के साथ डीलिंग है. उसमें इनकी डीलिंग में कुछ तो इशू है. उसके अलावा जो BCG की डीलिंग के अलावा भी कंपनी का जो ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड है, उनने ना सही से अपना कैपिटल मिस एलोकेट कर रखा है हमेशा. सो दे हैव स्पेंड 9.5 सीआर इन ऑर्डर टू, इट सेज दैट इन ऑर्डर टू टेक पोजेशन ऑफ अ ऑफिस स्पेस फॉर यूजिंग. बट वो 9.5 सीआर का क्या ऑफिस है, नथिंग हैज बीन मेंशन विद रिस्पेक्ट टू दैट. It is on the books for the last 3 years. Nothing has came out of it till date. It is standing on the books, so that just raises too many questions with respect to the company. Otherwise, it's a well decent run company. I would have probably said कि हाँ ठीक है. I don't see a lot of listing gains, but since these last 2-3 points just don't I just feel very uncomfortable even applying with respect to this company. So that is what my review was with respect to Mangal Compusolutions. Rohit, Tanmay, what do you guys think? Do you guys have anything to add while I try and find where Yash is? I can't see him yet.
have not read the company, honestly. This is something like Silicon Rental. Is it a comparable company?
Yes, that is what they have shown as the comparable. Silicon Rental also does like 20-22 PE पे ही trade करता है, so already priced in है company. But problem ये है कि उसके अलावा जो चीजें है ना, those are interesting.
मेरे तरफ से तो क्लियर कट अवॉर्ड है, मुझे ना सेक्टर पसंद है और कंपनी स्पेसिफिक है। जब बीसीजी का नाम आया तो मेरा उधर ही मूड खराब हो गया कि नहीं अब छोड़ दो, इसको अवॉइड ही करना चाहिए। क्या बुक बिल्ड इशू है क्या है ये? बुक बिल्ड है क्या?
Fixed price.
फिक्स प्राइस यार, फिर तो छोड़ ही दो।
या वही फिक्स प्राइस है, और उसके अलावा भी अगर एक बार मैं मान भी लूं कि चलो कंपनी बढ़िया है, फिर भी है तो 16 पी, तो 16-18 पी, सो बुक पे तो कुछ है नहीं टेबल पे, और है तो आईटी बिजनेस जिसमें से अराउंड 75% ऑफ रेवेन्यू कम्स फ्रॉम जस्ट like 75% revenue comes from trading of the IT equipment per se. So that doesn't seem to inspire any confidence in the company.
This business shouldn't get a P of about 12-14 honestly, and listing in तो दूर की बात हो जाती है until and unless the flippers come in on the listing day and take it to some upper circuits, but बाकी तो यार fundamentals तो बहुत मतलब कचरा है इसके।
Yeah, exactly. I also feel the same. This is what the review was with respect to Mangal Compusolutions. I'm still trying to, struggling to add Yash. Maybe Yash के पास बाद में आते हैं. In the meanwhile, we can move forward and talk about the next company if we are covered these two. Anything that you guys have for these two SMEs, or we can probably move to Niva Bupa, which is a big size issue, and probably a lot of people are interested whether they should apply to that issue or not tomorrow.
Let's move on.
Okay, let's talk about Niva Bupa. So just setting up Niva Bupa for Tanmay. Again, this is probably one of the health insurance companies which doesn't need a lot of introduction. A lot of people would already have seen this company here or there. The company is coming up with a 2200 CR IPO, 2200 करोड़ का IPO है, जिसमें से 800 करोड़ का फ्रेश इशू है एंड 1400 CR को OFS है. The good part is on day 2 only the issue is sailed. IE issue 1x हो चुका है. It's interesting how we have reached a time where we celebrate if a issue gets sailed. Only 1 month ago there used to be time where even 100x used to be like, अरे ये तो कुछ नहीं आएगा. But yeah, times have changed. So the issue is already sailed. 2200 CR issue, 800 CR fresh, 1400 CR OFS. But Tanmay, do you want to very quickly kind of summarize and provide a high-level summary of Niva Bupa?
Yes, so Niva Bupa Health Insurance Limited is India's third largest SHI. What is SHI? Standalone health insurer. And it is also the fastest growing health insurer in India. Okay. As per this GDP, gross direct premium income, it has a GDP of 5,500 crore out of, so seeing this number, it is the third largest in SHI in India. Okay. So this company has a market share of 17.3%. Okay, so which has been increasing from 12% from FY22. So this company is basically raising 2200 crores, out of which 800 crores is the fresh issue and 1400 crores is the OFS. Okay, so 800 crore, this is being used for augmenting the capital base to maintain and strengthen the solvency levels. Okay, तो जो कंपनी का फ्यूचर ग्रोथ कंपनी देख रही है उसको स्ट्रेंथन करने के लिए 800 करोड़ अलोकेट किए गए हैं. अभी इसके फाइनेंशियल्स पे आता हूं मैं. FY23 में सी इट इज नॉट अ मैन्युफैक्चरिंग और नॉर्मल कंपनी, सो आई विल नॉट यूज द टर्म रेवेन्यू, इट विल बी नेट प्रीमियम अर्न्ड. ओके, सो सी इट इन दैट सेंस. तो FY23 द कंपनी डिड अ नेट प्रीमियम ऑफ 2662 crores and PAT was of 12.5 crores. Okay, FY23 में net premium earned increased to 3811 crores and PAT went at 82 crores. Okay, and Q1 the company recorded 1018 crores of net premium earned and it did a net loss of 18.9 crores. Okay, so you will say कि पिछले 2 साल प्रॉफिटेबल थे, कहां से वापस लॉस आ गया. सो द थिंग इज, इनका जो अकाउंटिंग पॉलिसी है ना, इसके हिसाब से अगर मैं देखो तो इनका Q1 और Q2 जनरली लॉसेस होते हैं और Q3 एक्चुअली वो साल में वो हर क्वार्टर इनकी इंप्रूवमेंट आती जाती है. तो Q1 इज अ लॉस मेकिंग, Q2 is a slight loss making, Q3 goes profitable, Q4 is heavily profitable. Okay, तो ये मत देखिएगा कि 18-19 करोड़ का लॉस है तो कंपनी का एक कंडीशन खराब हो चुका है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, वो अकाउंटिंग पॉलिसीज है उनकी. तो कंपनी इज कमिंग एट बेसिकली 13,520 करोड़ मार्केट कैप. अगर मैं प्री मनी बुक वैल्यू की बात करूं तो 6.2 टाइम्स पे आ रहा है. ओके, इसका एनएवी, इसका प्राइस पॉइंट 74 रुपीज. ओके, इसके हिसाब से आई थिंक कुछ एनएवी इनका 11.5 रुपीज समथिंग है. और मैं अगर पोस्ट मनी, अभी पोस्ट मनी प्री मनी एनएवी क्या होता है मैं बताता हूँ. सी, इट्स नॉट अ मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंपनी कि आप इसको पी पे जज कर दो, तो आपको इसका पी भी देखना पड़ेगा. वो फाइनेंशियल कंपनी हो गई, हाउसिंग फाइनेंस हो गई, इंश्योरेंस हो गया, एनबीएफसी हो गया, तो आपको इनको पीबी पे देखना पड़ता है. तो सी व्हाट इज पीबी, शेयर प्राइस डिवाइडेड बाय बुक वैल्यू. ओके, तो इसके हिसाब से आता है. हाउ दिस बुक वैल्यू कम्स, इट इज द टोटल नेटवर्थ डिवाइडेड बाय नंबर ऑफ शेयर्स आउटस्टैंडिंग. तो ऐसे एनएवी आता है. एनएवी इज आई थिंक एनएवी आता है. फिर अभी अगर मैं इसका पोस्ट मनी करना तो क्या करूंगा, मैं इसका जो आज का नेटवर्थ है 2050 करोड़, उसमें ये 800 करोड़ का नया फ्रेश डाल दूंगा तो 2850 हो जाएगा. और फिर नंबर ऑफ शेयर्स आउटस्टैंडिंग करूंगा तो वैसे एनएवी आ जाएगा. तो इसका जो पोस्ट मनी एनएवी प्राइस टू बुक बन रहा है, दैट इज कमिंग एट ऑलमोस्ट 4.05 टाइम्स. I will just compare it with its peers. See, listed में इसका अगर मैं peers बोलूँ तो इसका स्टार हेल्थ से ही exact apple to apple comparison आता है. ICICI Lombard and New India Assurance, I won't take them as an direct comparable peer. See, NICL के तो fundamentals बहुत गिरे हुए हैं, but ICICI Lombard is a different scale and quality of the company. It's not an SHI. Okay, तो Star Health is almost 2.5 to 3 times larger than Niva Bupa. It's currently at this point trading at 4.8 times. Okay, sorry, 4 वो चल रहा है 4 times पे, and it's this Niva Bupa is coming at 4.8 times. मतलब close to 18 to 19% Niva Bupa is coming premium to Star Health. Okay, तो मतलब ये चीज है कि आप नया कैपिटल ऐड करोगे, देन व्हाट विल बी योर पीबी, इट विल बी 19 to 20% higher than the Star Health. Now, I'll come to some growth levels. So this health insurance market is growing at close to 16% CAGR. Okay, 16 to 18%. But this company is growing at almost 2.5 times or 2 times than the industry. Like this company has last 3 years GDP CAGR of this of Niva Bupa is 41%, and GWP CAGR is close to 35%. But seeing the management's confidence and the few things even on the RHP, we should expect that this company will grow roughly 28 to 32% in next 2 years. Okay, but अगर मैं कुछ और चीजों पे आऊँ तो मतलब इनका क्लेम्स रेशियो है 59%, which is second lowest in the industry. Actually, company wise, it is good that the claims ratio is lower, but as a standpoint of the consumer, it's not good because it says that company थोड़ा सा क्लेम करने में इश्यूज कर देती है. Then claim settlement ratio is also 92%, which is almost middle in the industry. मतलब I think top 10 या 11 players में 6 आता है, तो मिडल लेवल पे. तो इसका कंबाइन रेशियो 106% है. व्हाट इज कंबाइन रेशियो? इनका जो एक्सपेंस का रेशियो होता है और जो क्लेम रेशियो होता है उनको कंबाइन करने के बाद कंबाइन रेशियो बनता है. तो आई थिंक 106% इज ऑनेस्टली नॉट अ गुड रेशियो, बट यस, आफ्टर दिस 800 करोड़ एंड और 6-8 महीने के बाद द क्लेम रेशियो कैन come close to 100 to 102%, which will be a decent one. Okay, तो ओवरऑल मैं देखूं तो आई थिंक this company is almost 60% smaller than the its closest listed pair, which is Star Health. And आपको सबको पता होगा कि Star Health का IPO 750 पे आया था, अभी आई थिंक 500 पे आ रहा है. 3 साल हो चुके हैं, निगेटिव 30-40% रिटर्न में है. वो बहुत हाइप था उस टाइम पे. So I feel कि this company should have done the pricing at an attractive level. Honestly, ये pricing पे लिस्टिंग पे तो बिल्कुल भी स्कोप नहीं बनता. मतलब आप 19% महंगा लाते हो, वो भी पोस्ट मनी. We know your growth is good, your management is good, your future prospects are good, but it doesn't mean that you will on the IPO side, मतलब आप listing पे शायद premium जा सकते हो, but you haven't left enough on the table for the investors. So मेरा इस पे ये view है कि you should invest in this company only with an view of 1 to 3 years in the long term period. ये listing gain पे फिर short term में इसको clearly avoid करना है. See, company is very good, management is good. See, this is I think the only company in Indian SHI which has the largest majority shareholding out of India. So Niva Insurance, it's not an Indian company, so it is a global company which has a huge scale of business in the US, UK, Switzerland, and on almost I think 13, 14 countries it has a strong presence. I think it owns close to 60% of the company. And the second one is Fetterton, which is a direct entity of an private equity firm, True North. Okay. So that they are selling the shares. Actually, True, this Fetterton also has a bias with the Axis Bank Limited. Okay, Axis Bank और इनका एक I think ratio है कुछ तो वो Fetterton से Axis Bank को भी पैसे जा रहा है. And the most interesting thing is the BRLM of Niva Bupa is Axis Capital itself. So the selling shareholder and the banker has some internal biases together. तो आई फील लिस्टिंग इन के लिए तो इसको क्लियरली अवॉइड है. कंपनी अच्छी है बट आई फेल्ट कि इन्होंने प्राइस बैंड और अट्रैक्टिव लाना चाहिए था. सिंपल थिंग है, आज स्टार हेल्थ का मार्केट कैप 28,000 करोड़ है, जो ऊपर से 40% गिर चुका है, जो इसे आई थिंक 170%, मतलब 2.5 से 3 गुना के बीच की बड़ी साइज की कंपनी है. तो मैं 14,000 पे क्यों लूं कंपनी, वो मुझे मिल रहा है. दैट इज ऑल्सो ग्रोइंग एट अ डिसेंट स्केल ऑफ 22%. सो इट्स नॉट कि वो 15% ग्रो कर रहा है, ये 35-40 है तो हम इसको बहुत अनप शनप प्रीमियम दे दे. सो इट्स दैट्स नॉट द केस. So for me, it's an award for short term and delisting, and for long term, it can be kept. And yes, we all know कि insurance sector में पैसा बनाना बहुत मुश्किल होता है. So I think safe or even the medium risk taker should avoid this issue.
Got it. So just to highlight, can you just repeat ये किन दो का venture, like who does Niva belong to and who does Bupa? Like how do they come together and who is the selling party? Sell कौन कर रहा है?
Sir, actually this was earlier known as Max Bupa. Max Bupa था, फिर इसका नाम Niva Bupa हुआ. Max sold its stake in the JV, and the selling shareholders are, see, पहली बात तो I think government का ये जो इंश्योरेंस रेगुलेटर है उनका कुछ तो ये शेयर होल्डिंग का है कि फॉरेन जो पार्टनर है इट कैन नॉट ओन अबव XYZ परसेंटेज. तो उसको टैकल करने के लिए नीवा इज सेलिंग अ स्मॉल पार्ट. Majorly it's sold by Fetterton LLP, which is the firm of the PE fund True North, और उसमें Axis Capital, Axis Bank का भी एक पार्टनर परसेंटेज है. तो they are the selling shareholders.
Got it. And which company do you compare this with? I understand you said Star Health, but there's a point which I also subscribe to, that they recently had a data leak, right? Because of which their share has been on a complete free fall per se. So is it correct to compare it with a company which has governance issues, corporate governance issues? Shouldn't this get a slight failure compared to that?
सर ऑनेस्टली मैं एक बहुत बोलूँ ना कि मुझे याद है, बिकॉज जब स्टार हेल्थ का भी आईपीओ आया था ना, मैं बहुत एक्टिवली ट्रैक करता था उसको. सी, स्टार हेल्थ का भी मैनेजमेंट बहुत अच्छा है ऑनेस्टली, एंड उसमें बहुत बड़े इन्वेस्टर्स यू नो कि आई थिंक 20% स्टेक इज ओन्ड बाय मिस्टर राकेश. तो वो भी बहुत अच्छी कंपनी. यस, आई नो द डेटा ब्रीचेस हैपेंड, बट आई थिंक थोड़ी चीजें होती है. वी कैन नॉट डायरेक्टली से दैट इट वाज अ सीजी इश्यूज काइंड ऑफ. यस, देयर वर इश्यूज, बट अगर अभी मैं इसको अगर एक वैल्यूएशन के मल्टीपल से ही, आई थिंक वी शुड कनेक्ट ऑन दिस स्पेस. इट्स नॉट अ राइट प्लेटफॉर्म टू डिस्कस ऑन दैट पार्ट. कि ये जो ओवरऑल स्पेस है ना, पे आईसीआईसीआई लोम्बार्ड ले लू, मैं NICL ले लू, स्टार हेल्थ, ऊपर से तीनों स्टॉक्स का 20% करेक्शन हुआ है पीक पे, पीक इन द सेंस लास्ट 6 months. तो आई थिंक मैं वो स्टैंड पॉइंट से बोलूं तो डजंट मेक अ ह्यूज डिफरेंस. बट द थिंग इज यार, आफ्टर दिस द मंथली numbers of Star Health are very good. So this, I know the breach was actually a serious thing, but yes sir, there are some flaws in the companies. कुछ होती रहती चीजें. NSE से ये हुई तो Star Health यार is a very smaller company than this. So I think at least for this time period we should ignore that point and just see the scale of both the businesses and the valuations. So surely Niva Bupa is coming at almost 18-19% premium, that too post money valuation.
Got it. And I understand Anchor Book is not a relevant metric.
Anchor Book was actually, Anchor Book है ना थोड़ी सी अलग टाइप की थी. Temasek, which is a very large private equity fund, had invested I think 11% of the Anchor Book. Then the second largest anchor was A91 Partners. It is actually a good anchor. Third one was the Amansa. Amansa is आपको याद होगा जना स्मॉल फाइनेंस बैंक जब लिस्ट हुआ था at par, फिर नीचे गया था. Then one guy came and just took whatever liquidity it had, and the stock went I think 40-50% in no time. Mr. Akash Prakash, he is based in Singapore. They have actually all these three funds on 11% each. And then the next one was I think Franklin Templeton with 7% approx. I'm just remembering the numbers. I'm not telling the exact ones. And the fifth one was I think Nippon. तो this was top 5 and the Axis actually took more at the issue price. But one thing I can add in this was कि जब इनका February में placement हुआ था ना, that was done at 74 rupees only from the True North private equity. True North, I think, sorry, Niva Bupa से, Niva UK से. तो I think they haven't charged an extra premium out of it, but honestly, I don't feel there is a scope left even at these levels.
Got it. Rohit, and Yash, do you guys have anything to add on Niva Bupa? Or I had one last question from Tanmay.
There was one thing I read that these guys had raised some funds hardly some 10 days ago. Not raised some funds, I think there was some secondary sale promoter had sold.
Secondary placement. Yes.
Secondary, which was at a 10-15% premium to this price, to the IPO price. So they clearly have, within like 10 days, they have cut their own price, which shows that they're aware of the fact that the market has fallen a bit. Even to me, just intuitively, the valuation looks high. A lot of the other metrics are not quite as good as Star Health, but they have a higher growth. So you would say that they would maybe offset each other, and still it is coming at a 20% premium. I think a lot of that has to do with just the ferocity of the fall, I think, in the last 1 month across this segment and across the market. So many companies are suddenly looking mispriced. They look reasonably priced based on where markets were in 1 month ago or like end of September, but where they are now in the first week of November, all these prices look far less attractive. So I kind of subscribe to the same view. I don't see anything left on the table right now. It looks like a good company for the medium to long term, but I don't see listing gains.
हाँ, मतलब यार मैं अगर पूरे कंपनी का समरी बोलूँ ना, तो कंपनी लेवल पे कोई दिक्कत नहीं. आई नो कि कुछ मेट्रिक्स पे आपको लगा कि यार कंबाइंड रेशो 105 है, 98 पे होता तो ज्यादा अच्छा होता. बट द थिंग इज लाइक एज द स्केल एंड द न्यू कैपिटल रेज गोज इन द सॉल्वेंसी रेशियोज and the what we can say economies to scale and efficiencies come up, I think pure idea is set to bring all these insurers at 95 level premiums, 95 combined ratio, and they'll surely come in next, I think, couple of years. But the thing is like we are see for long term it's surely good, but honestly even if the Star Health's the stock price was at that 2-3 months that valuations, still it would have been close to 4.5 times of book value, and company is coming at a post money valuation Niva Bupa at 4.8. तो शायद उसी पे भी we would have spoken कि यार 6-8% premium पे आ रहा है तो long term के लिए लगा लो. That is the thing, because this business, I personally feel कि आप until unless you are a digital first or very robustly 30-40% next 3-4 years outlook like go digit, then the stability in the business should be much higher than a normal manufacturing or any kind of sector than the insurance one. So and I just saw that who took that A91 emerging fund only, which is the I think largest anchor, large in the sense top 3 took 11%. One of them was A91 emerging fund that took at 85 rupees per share. Okay, that was a transaction of I think 1 crore 74, I mean almost 87-88 crores transaction. नहीं ज्यादा था यार, उससे भी ज्यादा था ये. हाँ, I think 150 crore का transaction था almost at 85 rupees per share. It was not 10 days back, but ठीक है यार. They are private equity funds. They have that holding period of 2-3 years. We as an investors cannot have that much. So
got it. So in a way, they are already sitting at 10% loss, right? And you're right, obviously. But so it just, again, as Rohit was saying, it just feels that the market has corrected so much that the what would have probably looked well priced is now suddenly looking expensive. I have two questions. Before I ask them, just want to highlight, if you guys have joined in between और आपने पुरानी कंपनीज का रिव्यू नहीं सुना है, so ऊपर YouTube चैनल का लिंक है, उस पे ये स्पेस में डाल दूंगा. So go ahead and follow the YouTube channel. You can listen to the reviews at your own pace. And also, if you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the chat box. We'll take questions from the chat. In fact, I have a question, very interesting question in the chat box, which I was reading, which said that health insurance पे GST काफी टाइम से इस पे डिबेट चल रहा है that the GST should be removed or at least reduced on health insurance, and there might be a decision on it in the upcoming GST council meet. how do you think if there is a reduction that will impact the company industry in any way per se? So that's a question which any one of you, although I think that's a very positive thing and it's something which I fully subscribe to. GST on health insurance should not be at the levels at which it is.
Yes, sir. I also feel the similar thing that health insurance is not a place where GST should be honestly charged. It's I think very positive thing for the industry. But I'll just highlight one thing यार कि इसमें एक चीज था yes हाँ. This average ticket size per policy, this was a number, I think, no, that was not, it was one thing where I'm not able to get it, but there was a average at a low policy ticket size. Okay, so Star Health had an almost ticket policy of 12,000, ICICI Lombard at 17,000-18,000, and this company is at I think 30,800 kind of thing. तो यार बहुत मतलब आई थिंक बहुत अमीर लोग ही लेते हैं क्या नीवा बुपा की पॉलिसी एनीवन हैज एनी आइडिया
I think I heard in one of the interviews they said that most of they are very urban focused, and that's why they have very high average policy price. But beyond that, I've not dug deeper. Maybe I don't know Star Health Comics.
So what I'm reading right now at a very high level from Google, that some minister said that any policy exceeding rupees 5 lakhs will continue to attract 18% GST. So even if they bring something, that would only be at a lower policy coverage, right? So if it is a lower policy coverage, then probably Niva Bupa doesn't stand to benefit from it as much as some of the other players per se.
सर गॉट इट मुझे मिला वो मेट्रिक 2024 में इनका एवरेज टिकट साइज पर पॉलिसी वाज 30,419 रुपीज स्टार हेल्थ का सुनो यार बहुत ही अलग फिगर है 1,903 रुपीज एंड आईसीआईसीआई लोम्बार्ड वाज 9,067 एंड न्यू इंडिया वाज 18,000 मतलब यार क्या लेवल का चार्ज कर रहे हैं या फिर कुछ अकाउंटिंग में चेंजेस आई थिंक वी शुड सी दैट इन डेप्थ बट यार बहुत ज्यादा डिस्पैरिटी नंबर्स में
Yeah, Star Health sounds too low. Yeah. The other
1900 ने दिया है डेटा अवेलेबल है ये I'll send you 1900 के सामने 30,000 आई फील 19,000 होना चाहिए कुछ होगा इसमें हाँ 19,000 भी फिर भी ठीक लग रहा है यार 1900 is I think if NICL can charge 16,000 then how can Star Health go 1,800 kind of I think one zero is missing in it. But यार even if it's 19,000 kind of thing 30,000 तो यार honestly महंगा हो जाता है 20% तक ठीक रखता है but 19 के सामने 30 I think the Niva Bupa I think a kind of premium kind of policies I feel.
Then one more question which I had, and again saying if anyone has any question with respect to Niva Bupa, please post them in the chat box. One question which I had was, again I have heard that this is an institutional stock. Institutions would be very interested in it. But again, considering that institutions are exiting, how do you think that will impact? Does that mean that just avoid even for long term until that stability comes in where institutions still start coming in, FIIs start becoming slightly more stable per se?
यार ये स्टार हेल्थ भी इंस्टीट्यूशनल स्टॉक था मुझे याद है
So अभी के लिए since institutions have been exiting, is it right to say that like risky players or even slightly safer players should just avoid and see that stability कि कहाँ पे stable होता है market पर से where FII finally say we have sold enough.
One thing we can see in this is कि यार इनका जो प्राइवेट इक्विटी फर्म है ट्रू नॉर्थ वाया देयर सब्सिडरी फेटलटोन सी तो all these funds have a fund life kind of thing and they had invested in 2022 I think what I can remember तो I think 3 साल हो चुके हैं और generally what average of this firms is close to 4 to 5 years so we can see even a block deal in next after 6 months or 4 months so whenever an FI institution comes to buy its stock they'll say यार ये तो बेचने वाला है और तब तो लिक्विडिटी फिर से आ जाएगी मार्केट में तो अभी क्यों ले so it's also a possibility that it will list at par 2-3-4% premium to 4% at discount then it कुछ 2-4 दिन कुछ ऊपर नीचे मूव आ जाएगा then it will be sideways for 6-8 months and block deal will happen then we can see some buying है तो वो यार पूरा बेस बना के उसको होल्ड करो 4-10 महीने के लिए वो वाली चीज है so I feel for short term and listing and one should clearly avoid this one.
Got it. Any interest from small cap funds, etc.? Where will it list? It will be small cap, right? I'm assuming. कितना है market cap?
14,500।
Small cap ही होगी ना फिर तो?
हाँ यार, सैजिलिटी में लार्ज कैप फंड्स आ गए थे टाटा के, तो हाँ, बट
हम्म।
यस, सैजिलिटी कैन बी लार्ज कैप इन नेक्स्ट 3 years, इसकी नहीं गारंटी मुझे।
Uh, with that, maybe if you guys have nothing to add on Niva Bupa, we can probably close Niva Bupa and then take a few more questions. In the meanwhile, just want to highlight again, if you're joined in between, you can follow the space on YouTube. The link is in the pinned comments. Uh, I will go to Yash after this. Yash, you had a few things to add on Mangal, right? Maybe we'll talk about that, and then Tanmay, maybe you want to. I have a few questions with respect to, maybe I'm answering them first, which says that which IPO to apply for 10% listing gains. I feel none of the three. Like, at least for sure, cannot say that at least 10% gain to hoga hi, from out of the three IPOs should be avoided if you are looking just for listing gains. Again, it's just a very high level review. You do you what you feel like, but that is what I feel. And then a few more questions with respect to sagility. Tanmay, very quickly, if you want to cover sagility after this. But maybe I'll go to Yash because I couldn't give you a chance to speak on Mangal. You had a lot of points to cover, so over to you.
Yeah, hi Manish.
Yeah.
So मेनली सारे पॉइंट्स तो मनीष यू हैव ओनली कवर्ड इट. सो मैं मोटा मोटी थोड़े बहुत पॉइंट्स जो मेरी तरफ से कंसर्न थे वो कवर कर लेता हूँ. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल तो ये जो कंपनी है मेरे को तो सेक्टर ही पसंद नहीं है, क्या कचरा सेक्टर है ये. और प्लस मेरे को तो लगता है कि ये नाम ऐसे करके लाते हैं मंगल कॉम्प्यू सोल्यूशंस एक्सेट्रा, बट मेरे को तो लगता है ये अपने बगल वाली शर्मा एंटरप्राइजेज ही है, उसमें स्टेक ले लूं इस कंपनी से अच्छा तो. एंड फ्यू पॉइंटर्स जो इनके बैलेंस शीट में दिखे मेरे को रिसेंटली, इनके बैलेंस शीट में जैसे मैं देख रहा हूँ 2023 में इनका जो शेयर कैपिटल था दैट वाज क्लोज टू 2 crores, एंड वो 2024 में 10 crores हो गया. तो 8 crores वर्थ ऑफ शेयर्स दे हैव इशूड देमसेल्व्स. एंड बट मैं ओवरऑल बैलेंस शीट पे इफेक्ट जो देख रहा हूँ, आई कैन ओनली सी इफेक्ट ऑफ दैट इन बोरोइंग्स. तो और कहीं मेरे को मेजर इफेक्ट्स नहीं दिख रहा है क्योंकि एसेट्स भी कम हो रहे हैं. एंड 8 crore जो लेके आए हैं कंपनी में इन्फ्यूज भी करा है, अगर उससे भी डेट पे ऑफ करा है तो फिर तो ये जो कैश जनरेट हुआ है FY23 में 4 crores का, इसका मतलब क्या ही यूज अगर बाहर से लाके पे करना पड़ रहा है तो. क्योंकि ना मेरे को एसेट्स बढ़ते हुए दिख रहे हैं और ना कोई और कहीं काउंटर इफेक्ट हो रहा है उस चीज का डेट पे ऑफ के अलावा. देन अदर पॉइंट विच आई वांट टू स्पीक अबाउट इज इनका जो ROCE है, कैपिटल एलोकेशन ROCE को देख के तो लग रहा है कि अच्छे से नहीं कर रखा है, क्योंकि ROCE क्वाइट फ्लक्चुएटिव है खुद में ही. FY22 में 10%, FY23 में -16%, देन FY24 में 15.54% अगेन. और जो ट्रेड रिसीवेबल्स भी हैं इनके, आउट ऑफ दिस 6.34 करोड़, इनके जो ट्रेड रिसीवेबल्स मोर देन आई वुड से मोर देन 3 years हैं, वही 2.67 है. तो 3 साल से ज्यादा हो चुका है उनको एंड अभी तक पैसा आना बाकी है. तो दिस इज क्वाइट अ नेगेटिव पॉइंट फॉर मी. एंड 3 crores जो हैं इसमें से वो लेस देन 6 months है. तो वो जो 3.24 crores जो अभी लेस देन 6 months है, उसका भी ऐसा कुछ गारंटी नहीं है कि वो तुरंत मिल जाएगा. मतलब मोर देन 3 years वाले भी ऑलमोस्ट हाफ ऑफ व्हाट द टोटल ट्रेड रिसीवेबल इज. तो वो एक कंसर्न है. प्लस जो इनको ट्रेड पेबल्स में जो इनको पैसा देना है वो सबको लेस देन 6 months देना है. 1.31 crores अराउंड 6 months से नीचे है, तो वो एक कैश क्रंच हो सकता है. प्लस जो इनका एसेट्स भी है, आई थिंक दीज आर द कंपनीज एसेट्स, एंड इसमें काफी ज्यादा डिप्रिसिएशन भी ये लोग मार रहे हैं. नॉट श्योर अबाउट कि व्हाट दे आर ट्राइंग टू डू. या एंड आई थिंक इसको तो
Hey,
अवॉइड ही
I
करना
can't hear Yash. Can you guys hear Tanmay and Rohit?
Yes,
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 we can
yes,
hear
he
you.
is very.
Sorry.
तो 100% दिस शुड बी अवॉइडेड, क्योंकि कोई मतलब ही नहीं है ऐसी कंपनी का. मतलब इतने सारे रेड फ्लैग्स हैं कंपनी में ऑलरेडी. एंड प्राइस टू अर्निंग्स भी 18 के पी पे ला रहा है. मतलब 10 के पी भी मुझे तो लगता है कि नहीं लेना चाहिए था, बट 18 पे भी अब क्या बोले.
करेक्ट। मैंने एक चीज देखी थी इसमें 45 करोड़ की बैलेंस शीट थी, राइट, जिसमें से बिजनेस में तो 12-13 ही लगे हुए थे, बाकी सब तो जैसे 13 CR तो इनने एक अपनी ग्रुप कंपनी को लोन दे रखा है विच हैज बीन स्टैंडिंग। देन जैसे मैं बता रहा 9.5 करोड़ का इनने एक एडवांस दे रखा है जो 3 साल से दे ही रखा है, एंड उसका कुछ अपडेट नहीं है पर से। सो वी हैव बैक्ड दिस कंपनी इनफ, जस्ट अवॉइड दिस कंपनी unless you don't know what will happen, but fundamentally this doesn't seem like a investable business at all.
करेक्ट। एंड ऑल्सो मनीष, ऑन द पॉइंट विच यू टॉक्ड अबाउट कि महाराष्ट्र में इन्होंने काफी अच्छा ग्रोथ करा है, मतलब महाराष्ट्र में मेजोरिटी ऑफ रेवेन्यूज कमिंग फ्रॉम महाराष्ट्र, तो आई थिंक इसका ये पॉइंट भी हो सकता है क्योंकि मेजोरिटी ऑफ द जो टेक या फिर ऑफिसेज होते हैं दे आर मेनली इनटू महाराष्ट्र, बैंगलोर एंड देन दिल्ली। तो आई थिंक ये होम ग्रोन है वहाँ की कंपनी, तो इसलिए इनको बेनिफिट मिल रहा है। एंड इसमें एक ये पॉइंट भी हो सकता है कि दे माइट ट्राई टू सेल यूजिंग दिस कि हमारा हमारा ऑलरेडी एक टेक पे जाता है, सपोज कोई भी कंपनी में हमारा ऑलरेडी प्रोडक्ट्स आ रहे हैं, तो द कंपनी वोंट शिफ्ट एनीवेयर। वो उस मतलब एज अ कंपनी कंजम्पशन पे यूज कर सकते हैं अपने आप को कि अगर वो कंपनी डेली एनसीआर ऑफिस खोलेगा या न्यू हायरिंग करेगा तो दे विल ऑब्वियसली यूज अस, ऐसा भी बोल सकते हैं। बट दैट इज फॉर अस टू सी आफ्टर दिस रिजल्ट्स जो H1 आते हैं अभी, या फिर, और उसमें भी कंपलसरी तो होता नहीं है, तो आई थिंक रिजल्ट्स देखने के बाद ही लेना चाहिए। बट सेक्टर टू मी इज नॉट इवन वर्थ ऑफ गिविंग अ 10p, वो तो फॉर श्योर है।
Yep, agree. Plus,
आपने
I
वो
feel
बीसीजी
कि
का कुछ पढ़ा क्या?
revenue का कम है, 20 CR का रेवेन्यू है यार, सो 20 CR रेवेन्यू कुछ नहीं होता, राइट। 1.25 करोड़ भी से मतलब 15 करोड़ उसमें से लैपटॉप बेच दिया तुम 50,000 रुपए के, अगर तुम 250 लैपटॉप बेचोगे साल भर में, महीने भर में, यानी 10 लैपटॉप दिन के, तुम्हारी सेल हो जाएगी उसकी, तो एक सिटी में हो जाएगा उतना। सो आई डोंट थिंक दैट्स लाइक इट्स नॉट एट स्केल वेन यू इवन थिंक अबाउट कि यार एक जगह में ही क्यों आ रहा है पूरा रेवेन्यू, सच ए स्मॉल बिजनेस।
सर मेरा आवाज आ रहा है?
हाँ जी।
हाँ मैं बोल रहा हूँ यश भाई को, क्या आपने वो बीसीजी का चीज पढ़ा क्या, प्रेफरेंशियल वाला?
हाँ पढ़ा ना, उन्होंने गेन ऑफ शेयर्स करके ही दिखाया है अपने बैलेंस शीट में इवन।
हाँ वो लिटिगेशन क्या है यार, शायद आई फील मटेरियल हो जाएगा वो।
करेक्ट। कहीं लैपटॉप भी उन्हीं को दिए हो।
हाँ, उसी साल में हमने बजट किया था यार 11 करोड़ रुपए का बजट।
दिल की बात बता दी यार उन्होंने।
अरे बेड डेट्स तो ये 3.5 करोड़ और रखा है ना आने के लिए।
और 9.5 करोड़ वो भी है जो एडवांस दिया हुआ है, उसका भी क्या होगा पता नहीं, बुक पे। With that, maybe Tanmay, do you want to very quickly go ahead and talk about two things? I see one question with respect to uh, uh, one question with respect to NTPC price band. I don't think anyone knows. So everyone's speculating right now. We'll probably have to wait until we hear of a price band. But anything with respect to say Agility, Swiggy, and Acme Solar, although we have heard a lot about it already. But I know Acme Solar, there's one good news if you want to share or if you feel you can share tomorrow.
We will share tomorrow at न्यू को क्लोज हो जाने तो फिर वी विल शेयर। आई थिंक तीनों आईपीओ पे कुछ ना कुछ न्यूज फ्लोज है। एक्मे सोलर पे तो डेफिनेटली एक बहुत ही फर्म और अच्छी न्यूज फ्लो है, आई थिंक विच वाज नॉट नोन इन द पब्लिक डोमेन, मतलब इट वाज नॉट आउट ड्यूरिंग आईपीओ, आई थिंक कल या परसों ही निकली वो चीज, सो दैट वी विल शॉर्टली राइट अप। सेजिलिटी पे बात ऐसा है ना कि सी सेजिलिटी का जो प्रीमियम है ना, पहले बात तो मैं प्रीमियम पे बोल देता हूँ, फिर बाकी की चीजों पे एक भी बार अभी तक निगेटिव नहीं गया है और कांस्टेंट नीचे से अच्छी बाइंग आ रही है। एंड आई थिंक क्यूआईबी में भी आईसीआईसीआई बैंक छोड़ दो तो सारे जितने भी इन्वेस्टर्स है, सारे ग्लोबल इन्वेस्टर्स है जो लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए चीज रखते हैं, तो इट्स नॉट द केस कि the QIBs will be selling on day one just like FPOS or like NXYZ IPO वारी उनमें ऐसा हुआ कि the banks or the flippers just came and sold on day one and created higher liquidity and pressure. And sagility, it's not going to get happen. तो and also I'll say कि जिस तरीके से buying भी हो रही है नीचे से, and I think seeing the fundamentals of the company, it can surprise on the listing. I will not be surprised if it even lists 10, 15, even 20%. It's surely possible. And Swiggy is also the similar case. The low of it was 0.5 rupees. It never went in negative. Now there's constant buying at 1.5. So I feel all three, as per me, should do well, and I think all of three have got all good allotment in all three. So yes.
दो का अलॉटमेंट नहीं आया अभी, बट आई अंडरस्टैंड द सेंटीमेंट, वन ऑफ दोस सेंटीमेंट जिसका भी
मिलने ही
लगाओ तो
वाला है यार,
मिलेगा।
बिग चेन्नई में मिलेगा।
या सबको मिलेगा यहाँ पे अलॉटमेंट, बट लेट्स सी। अभी आई थिंक द मार्केट्स आर स्लाइटली इफी, sentiments change, so let's see how that plays out. This is not a recommendation in any way, but I'm open, I'm positive on all three companies. Let's see how they do. Anything that Rohit, yeah, you guys have to add, or we can end the space here?
मैं एनटीपी से एक चीज बोल देता हूँ, प्राइस बैंड तो कल रात को ही आएगा। ओके, अभी तो किसी पे हिंट नहीं है। आरएसपी इज एक्सपेक्टेड टुमारो इन द पब्लिक डोमेन, टुडे आई थिंक इट्स विद द आरएफसी। सो आई थिंक प्राइस बैंड में बहुत ज्यादा इस पे हाइप है, मतलब वो जितना बजाज हाउसिंग ओला इलेक्ट्रिक के टाइम पे था उससे ज्यादा हाई, मतलब सबके मन में डाउट्स इधर एनटीपीसी के प्राइस बैंड पे है। आई थिंक द रेंज इज क्वाइट वेरी लार्ज, 40 to 120 is the range of the price band, and I think 125 पे ना मैं एक चीज ये बोल सकता हूँ कि 125 surely is a fake price band। रीजन ऐसा है कि there is a rule in the rule from the SEBI that you have to dilute at least 10% of your stake equity in the IPO। I think ये पिछले 10 साल में सिर्फ LIC को ही इसका ब्रीच मिला है, तो इसको तो नहीं मिलने वाला। आई थिंक तो ओवरऑल रेज इज 10,000 crores एंड 125 पे इसका मार्केट कैप 1,08,000 करोड़ अप्रॉक्स हो, उसका 10% भी 10,800 होता है। आई नो कि सभी का वो भी रूल है कि आप 20% इशू साइज बढ़ा सकते हो विदाउट फाइलिंग द एडेंडम, बट वो अभी तक आरओसी पे नहीं आया है। तो आई फील 125 तो श्योरली एक फेक, बिल्कुल फेक वाला प्राइस बैंड है until and unless द लास्ट मोमेंट्स कुछ इशू साइज बढ़ाया गया हो। तो आई फील कि ऑनेस्टली 125 पे तो यार मतलब आईपीओ का कचरा हो जाएगा, वो नहीं होने वाला। आई एम स्टिल होपिंग कि इट्स 45-50 ऑनली मैक्स। मतलब अगर कुछ भी 60 के ऊपर भी आ जाए तो आईपीओ कैन बी अ फ्लॉप वन और अ सबड्यूड वन। सो होप फॉर द बेस्ट।
I get the feeling there is the reverse of what happened in Hyundai happening here. I mean, it's just a conspiracy, so don't take it too seriously. But remember in Hyundai, everyone thought the price band would be 1,700, 1,750. It came to 1,960, which was 10% odd higher, and the market killed it. The mood was so bad, was so negative, and then of course it eventually listed bad because the auto sector tanked in right during that period. But it feels like the opposite is happening here. Make it seem like this is going to come at 125 and actually come at 45 or 50 and make it seem like they've left a lot on the table. So it's just an anchoring sort of thing that you anchor it to 125 and feel, oh, it's actually come at 45. The opposite of what happened in Hyundai, where it got anchored to 1,750 but came at 1,960 and everyone was very unhappy. So maybe there's some games being played there.
Let's see. Although I think 125 number was like जो source था उनने भी अब हटा दिया है वो number, so nobody knows, right? So everyone has to just wait only.
Yeah, 125 is a bit ridiculous. I mean, just this company is 3 gigawatt operational, which is what Acme Solar has. Acme Solar has come at 17,000 crore. If at 125 this comes at 1 lakh crore, it just doesn't, and it's a government entity which inevitably trades at a discount to private companies. So there is just no logical sense. Even 45,000 crore market cap is not cheap for a PSU. So, I mean, that way Acme Solar is that much more, it just becomes even more attractive.
I remember you saying that.
Actually, honestly, बोलूं ना
125 should go ahead and buy solar as much as you can if it comes at 125.
Yeah, it just sets another benchmark for something like Acme Solar.
मतलब यार ऑनेस्टली मैं बोलूं ना, तो एक्मे वाज 3.2 गीगावाट 100% सोलर एट 17,000. दिस इज 2.9 सोलर प्लस 0.1 विंड एट आई थिंक 45 पे भी इसका मार्केट कैप होगा क्लोज टू 43,000 crores. तो यार मतलब लोगों को एक्मे नहीं चाहिए, लोगों को वो कूद के एनटीपीसी लेना है। आई फील पहली बात तो मैं एक चीज बोल दूं कि 40 के नीचे प्राइस बैंड आ ही नहीं सकता, बिकॉज दे हैव देयर टोटल इशूड शेयर कैपिटल लिमिट ऑफ 1,000 crore शेयर्स, तो उसके बियॉन्ड तो नहीं जा सकता। बट आई फील कि 45 भी महंगा हो जाएगा, एंड वी आर सेइंग कि 45-50 पे भी ला दो फिर भी चल जाएगा। सो आई थिंक 125 नंबर, तो आई थिंक 125 पे जो इसका वैल्यूएशन होगा ना, वो अदानी ग्रीन से 30% या 20% कुछ प्रीमियम हो जाएगा। आई डोंट फील अ पीएसयू विल डू दैट। लेट्स सी।
यार एक चीज, ये गोल्डमैन सैक्स came with some valuation for NTPC Green back in September. This was when the market was 78,000 crore, na? तो 78,000 crore.
हाँ 67 रुपीज का शेयर प्राइस था.
अच्छा, ओके.
67 का शेयर प्राइस था. उस पे करीब करीब मार्केट कैप होगा आई विल से लाइक 60,000 crores.
I read 78. I didn't see the share price. I just read in one of the articles it said 78,500 crore or something. This was back when the market was absolutely at its peak, when Nifty was 26,000, whatever that number was. And then from then the market has fallen. But yeah, it gave a very obscene valuation, I felt, to NTPC Green. Maybe people are pegging it against that and thinking, okay, it comes at 45,000. Goldman Sachs is given 75,000. So utna upside hoga.
ऐसे तो यार फिर स्विगी का भी बायरॉन कैपिटल ने आई थिंक $14 billion का वैल्यूएशन करा दो यार लिस्टिंग उधर पे तो बहुत खुश हो जाऊंगा.
14 is like 40%.
आई विल बी हैप्पीएस्ट पर्सन. मैं बांट दूंगा जनता जितनी इधर देख रही है ना डिवाइड करके बांट दूंगा मैं सीरियसली.
कराओ यार.
40% गेन कराओ यार.
ऐसा नहीं चलता दोस्तों मार्केट.
वही सेम थ्योरी लगाओ इसमें भी. होंडई जैसे कि लोगों पे है ही नहीं, सब कुछ QIB पे है. So essentially nobody sells. But honestly, Swiggy also people like even 0.5% भी नहीं, 50% भी नहीं भरा था, right? HNI and retail quota. So almost all of it will be with QIBs, right?
Yes, it'll be interesting to see who are the QIBs there.
Actually.
It'll be interesting to see like for this one, for Sagility, that QIB list sort of came out. If it's similar, if it's high quality QIBs, again, it's a good sign.
Yeah, let's see.
आई थिंक सैलरी में हाईएस्ट इसको मिला है ना उनका गवर्नमेंट पेंशन फंड. लार्जेस्ट क्यूआईबी कौन है उसमें?
I'm just opening the list. मैंने सिर्फ वही शेयर की थी बैंक्स
I
वाली.
think I saw government pension fund I saw was one of the largest. That is not.
Singapore.
No, government pension fund is not just. That's not it.
Norges, okay, Norges. Okay.
Government pension fund has 4 CR shares.
Okay. मतलब सॉलिड है. अच्छा 120 crores ना.
Yeah. Then HDFC Mutual Fund has 3.5 CR. ICICI Prudential has 3.6 CR. All of them are the big holders from what I can see. Morgan Stanley has 2.1 CR. Morgan Stanley Asia. Optimix.
Actually, majority of them have got good decent size in the anchor book itself, na?
Hmm.
And they are adding more.
Society General came in with 3 CR. Let's see.
ओडिया है या ओडिया होगा ना सोसाइटी जनरल का?
हाँ ओडिया. Yeah, this is probably it with respect to the space today. We will be back next week next week is also short. Next week is a 4-day week because 20th को महाराष्ट्र में elections है तो उसकी वजह से markets बंद रहेंगे. So we'll be back with whatever IPOs come in next week. We know there are 2 IPOs which are coming. One is a logistics company. I forgot the name. Blackbuck है पुराना नाम तो नया मैं भूल गया. But then the second which can be NTPC. Let's see. But it should be interesting. Let's see how it works.
थर्ड वन भी आएगा सर. थर्ड वन भी आएगा. Ideally.
Okay, let's see.
Rosmeta is also there, no? The largest SME.
Yes, that's also no. Although I think they're closing on next to next week, right? क्योंकि वो
I think it's opening at around 18-19. हाँ तो NTPC के साथ ही आएगा.
21st को close होगा वो भी. So next to next week करेंगे इसको. नहीं 21st. Oh.
तब तक
21st also next week only. 21st also next week only.
मनीष सर तब तक तो इसका प्रीमियम माइनस में चला जाएगा ना रोसमेटा का तब तक.
हाँ अरे वो 21st को शिफ्ट होगा ना क्योंकि 20th को छुट्टी है उन्होंने इंक्लूड नहीं किया. 18 से 21 हाँ नहीं किया सॉरी.
It's next week yeah.
हाँ so next week only. So we'll review Rosemata if it is alive till then. Let's see. I hope it is alive. I found it recent only. I find it very bad.
Largest SME यार.
I was slightly positive about the company, but yeah, let's see. We'll review next week.
सर इसका बिजनेस मॉडल बताए थोड़ा सा.
अभी तो लेट हो गई unless you want.
अरे ओला के साथ बहुत घनिष्ठ सब मतलब छोड़ो अभी बाद में बात करते हैं इस पे.
Ola, Cars24, all of them, right?
हाँ, Ola is their I think largest customer, 50-60% revenue kind of.
So there's one question, Rosmata, issues with news floating. Is it true or hoax? Again, I also read an article. I don't know the source behind that article. News में तो आया था where they had put a complaint. But again, I have heard from one of the pre-IPO investors that there's nothing wrong with the company. It's a very old issue and it is already closed. The SEBI issue which they are talking about is already closed and done for. So there should be nothing to worry about. Plus, two good things about the company are the two LMs, Beeline and Magnolia. I feel they would have done their due diligence, but again, only one way to find out, which is to wait. Anything that Tanmay and Rohit, you guys have to add, or I think I've done a good job with respect to explaining that.
I think और एक SME आ रहा है ना बहुत बड़ा 150 crores का Nisus.
That should be a big size IPO. I was reviewing it. 16 करोड़ का पैड था उनका इस साल. 10
नहीं
महीने
वो
का
जून
So
जनवरी
10
तक
महीने
था
का
that was
और
in
3 month
महीने
का.
का So it should be a very big size IPO. Plus it's also Beeline and काफी confusing था वो business भी. Like कुछ कर रहे थे वो इतनी सारी सब्सिडी बना के 6-8 business सब्सिडी थी उनकी. So I was like क्या चल
सर
रहा है.
आपने वो एक चीज पढ़ा क्या? They were going to raise 1600 crores debt after filing DRHP at 500 crore valuation 5-600. तो I think interesting होना चाहिए. देखते हैं how does it shape up. 1600 crore they were planning raise from the global investors. And
Okay.
that too by the subsidiary of the real estate business. So
It
interesting.
would be a very confusing business to read. It is a business which I absolutely wholeheartedly give both of you to finish. I will not review that company. Just tell me that one. Coffee mix.
Rohit bhai will do that.
Rohit, I'll give you that issue happily.
जिंका तो मुझे मिलेगा ना ब्लैक बग.
Yes, sir.
सब करेंगे यार,
चलो
सब करेंगे.
Okay. With that, maybe we can close the space now. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. Have a good day ahead. Bye.
Thank you.